What's up, YouTubers and plant lovers? It's Justin coming to you from the Big Blue Nation once again, and today I was going to talk to you about the Monstera Deliciosa. And more specifically, this plant is called the Swiss cheese plant. Now, I know a lot of you have seen this plant. It's a pretty large plant. It does get very large, so you'll have to give it plenty of room to kind of spread out. Now, I really wanted to buy one of these plants, but they are pretty pricey. I don't know if you've even seen the variegated ones on eBay. Those suckers can go for $100, $120 just for one leaf clipping, not even a rooted plant. So I just opted for the regular Monstera Deliciosa, and it is a very cool plant. Now what I've done, I went to Kroger a couple of days ago, and I saw this plant, and I asked the lady in the floral department if she would just cut me off a leaf. She obliged, and this is what I've got. Now, you can propagate these plants several ways. You can do what I'm doing and use a cutting, or you can plant the seeds. You can also do this by air layering, and I believe you can cut the suckers off as well and just plant those. Now, when you propagate a Monstera Deliciosa, you can do that in those four ways. Doing it with seeds is extremely difficult, and that is because they have a very short shelf life. They can't stay cold or withstand any cool temperatures for any extended period of time. So they need to be used right away with the seeds. They are really hard to dry as well. So if you do use the seeds, good luck. Now, they can be done just like any normal plant. You do not have to create a winter dormancy. These plants are a tropical plant. And you just stick them down in the soil about an inch, maybe even a half inch down into the soil, and give it a little bit of water. Now, you do want to stick these seeds in like a warm area, and until you see a sprout come out, you really don't have to worry about light. The roots, once they start being produced, they need to be kind of well away from the light. So if you're propagating using a cutting like I am, you do want to use a colored cup. If you use a glass cup, once the plant starts producing its roots, if it's around light, it can harm the plant. So, and also when you're doing this with the plant, you also want to change the water every 3 to 4 days. If not, it will go stagnant and it will cause infection and kill the plant. Now, I've used this cutting and stuck it down into a cup, and I used purified water. I have a filter, so you can use bottled water, but if you do, go for spring. Anything without any kind of chlorine would be good. And you don't want to use hard water either. That can hurt the plant as well. And then once you do see the little sprouts coming out with the seeds, you don't really have to hit them with a whole lot of light either. So once they first come out, these plants are a vine, always and forever they are a vine. So they need something to climb up on. These plants are from the jungles in areas that probably only get 1, maybe 2% of the sun's rays down on the jungle floor. So once they do come up as a seed, they're not really looking for light right away. They're just looking for something to climb up on so that they can get up high and get to the light. Now in the jungle, these plants are going to do that with trees. Anything else that's really tall, and it's always going to be a tree. So what they'll do is they'll send little suckers out, and they'll little vines, and they'll find a tree. And if they don't find one within the first 6 to maybe 12 inches, the plant will die. But if it's able to immediately find a tree, it will climb up on it and grow all the way up to the crown so that it can get the maximum amount of light. And supply your plant with a moss pole or anything else that it can kind of climb up on, because it will need support. And just as I was saying, I think this is the easiest way to do this with this kind of plant. Just cut off about at least a 6-inch stem using sharp and sterilized clippings, and you'll be safe with that. And just immediately stick it down in some water. And like I said, change the water every 3 to 4 days. And keep the plant warm. It does not like to be below 50, 55 degrees at all, so I would make sure that if it's in the wintertime, you got your plant indoors. And if it is the wintertime, don't set it too close to the window at night unless you know that your windows are pretty insulated, because coolness will kill the plant. Now, you'll just have to monitor the plant, and after 3, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, you'll start seeing little white rootlets come off of that. And once you do, you're able to go ahead and stick it down into a pot and use some soil. Now I'm going to use my Miracle-Gro and cactus and succulent and citrus mix. This stuff drains really well. These plants don't like to be saturated a whole lot. They do like some wetness, but they do need to dry out in between waterings. So make sure that your plant is able to get rid of any excess water that it doesn't need. Now, you can also take a cutting and stick it down into the soil immediately and root it that way. I've never had luck with that, but I've had friends that say that they can do that. And if you do that, you'll just do a 6-inch cutting, stick it down in the soil, and make sure it's supported itself so that it's able to get a little bit of light and it doesn't fall over. And what you can do after about 3, maybe 4 weeks with this, you can give it a little tug. If it comes straight out, it hasn't produced any roots and something's probably wrong and it may die. But you can stick it back in there for a couple more weeks, and if it doesn't have any roots, I would throw it away and start again. Just give it a slight little tug, and if it kind of holds back a little bit, that means it has produced roots and you will be fine. Now, because these plants root so easily, you don't have to use any rooting hormone whatsoever. All you need to do is just stick them out of the water for several days and then just continue to monitor that. Now, I said several days, I meant several weeks. You can also propagate your Swiss cheese plant by dividing the suckers into about foot-long sections and then planting those wherever you want. You can just take those and gently press them down into the soil and then cover them up a little bit with the soil. And now, air layering is one that I don't particularly know too much about, but I have heard about it through friends and seen videos on it. And what you can do is take a bunch of damp sphagnum moss and wrap it around the stem, kind of where the axils and air roots come out, and you can wrap it around in damp sphagnum moss and kind of tie it there. And then once again, you'll take a sheet of plastic that's got slits in it to let a little bit of air in and out so the plant can still breathe, and you'll secure that with some string on both ends as well. And after about several weeks of this, the damp sphagnum moss with the plastic will create kind of a miniature greenhouse effect, and that will actually stimulate more roots to grow. Now once that happens, you can actually cut below the roots and then take that and plant it in a pot as well. Now I hear that's the easiest way to do it, but it does take a little bit of time, so it is rather time consuming, but you will get a great healthy plant that way. Now this is my second time propagating one of these plants this way, and the first time I didn't have any luck whatsoever, so I'm hoping this time I will. I've got it in a better situation where it will get more light, and I'm going to make sure I change the water every 3 days evenly instead of every 4 or 5. Now, wish me luck, and I'm going to go ahead and try this, and I'll keep you updated and let you know how long it takes me to get several roots, and once I get a new leaf, I'll update you all continuously. Now go ahead and leave me a like and give me a comment as well. Let me know if you've had any luck with these Monstera Deliciosa plants. And let me know if you have one of the variegated ones, because they are extremely beautiful. I wouldn't mind having one, and if you'd send me a cutting, I'd sure be glad. Well, guys, don't forget, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it. That way you'll know anytime that I've uploaded a new video. Don't forget, guys, always plant prudently. Thank you, YouTube. If you'd like to see last week's video, click over here. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, you can click over here as well. Alright guys, have a good one.